What's up guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to show you one of the most popular restaurant appetizers of all time and one of the most highly requested recipes that I've been getting for the channel here recently. This is my recipe for extra crispy and delicious fried calamari with a homemade marinara sauce. But before we get into the recipe, please take a quick second to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that bell to enable notifications as well. All right, meet me in the kitchen, let's make it happen. First things first, let's take a look at these ingredients. Here, obviously, we need our calamari. Our seasonings we're using today is gonna be Old Bay, some Italian seasoning, my all-purpose seasoning, or use whatever your favorite all-purpose seasoning is, a little chicken bouillon powder to amplify the flavor a little bit. Then for our dry ingredients, we have some baking powder, cornstarch, and 2 cups of all-purpose flour, and some buttermilk. All right, so first thing we gotta do is cut up our calamari. The calamari comes in 2 pieces, basically. You got the body here and the tentacles here. Not much prep work needs to be done on the tentacles, so we'll set them aside. For the body, I like bigger rings, so I like to cut mine about this thick, about the thickness of a finger or so. Maybe like a 1/2 inch thick. I don't got my ruler on me. But don't serve me those little tiny rings of calamari. I feel like they cook better when they're a little bit thicker like this. So that's how I like to cut mine.
And this episode is sponsored by Stamps.com. If you're a small business owner, you're busy enough as it is. You don't have time to deal with the hassle of going to the post office. With Stamps.com, you can skip the trip and never waste another dollar or minute. Stamps.com lets you print official postage right from your computer so you can spend less time at the post office and more time running your business. For more than 20 years, Stamps.com has been indispensable for over 1 million businesses. Not to mention, you get access to all of the post office and UPS shipping services you need right from your computer. Plus, you get discounts you can't find anywhere else, like up to 40% off USPS rates and 76% off UPS. And the best part is, all you need is a computer or a standard printer, no special supplies or equipment required. You're up and running in minutes, printing official postage for any letter, any package, anywhere you want to send it. Stamps.com has made my life so much easier as I'm mapping out my goals for the new year, and most importantly, they have saved me so much time. So sign up today at Stamps.com/MrMakeItHappen for a special offer that includes a 4-week free trial, free postage, and a digital scale. No long-term commitment or contracts required. That's Stamps.com/MrMakeItHappen.
So one of the most common complaints people have about calamari is that it's too chewy or it's rubbery. What I like to do is soak it in some buttermilk for about 30 minutes. The acid in the buttermilk will start to break down the calamari a bit and tenderize it. It also removes a little bit of the fishiness that people say that they taste. I mean, you are eating seafood, so it's gonna taste like seafood, but the buttermilk helps to kind of mask that a little bit if you're one of those folks that don't like the seafood flavor of the calamari. So 2 things are happening. It's gonna tenderize it, removing the rubbery texture, and it's gonna kind of mask the calamari flavor a little bit. So get in there with your hands, add some seasoning, mix the seasoning into that buttermilk, and just let that hang out and that marinate for at least 30 minutes before we go ahead and fry this up. The next critical step when frying calamari is to ensure you have a nice crispy coat on the calamari. So here we have 2 cups of all-purpose flour. To that, we're gonna add a 1/4 cup of cornstarch and then 1 teaspoon of baking powder. That's the blend that we're going with today for the breading. Now it's time to season it up. I'm going in with some chicken bouillon powder. This is gonna elevate the flavor a little bit. Just a teaspoon or so of that. We're also gonna add some Italian seasoning. You can really add whatever flavors you like to this. If you have a seafood seasoning that you enjoy, by all means, go ahead and use it. I'm also going in with some all-purpose seasoning or just a little salt and pepper for those of you that don't have this yet. And then last but not least, we're going in with some Old Bay. You want to give this a good mix to make sure all those seasonings are evenly distributed in the flour. And then we're ready to go. So while the calamari takes a bath in the buttermilk, we're gonna go ahead and get started on our homemade marinara. For the ingredients for that, you're gonna need some tomato paste, some crushed tomatoes, half of a diced onion, some fresh chopped garlic, and some fresh basil. Super simple, way better than the store-bought stuff, and it comes together pretty quick. To our skillet over medium-low heat, we're gonna go in with a tablespoon or 2 of olive oil. And then we're gonna toast that garlic. You don't want the heat to be too high for this, guys. You wanna add the garlic in there and allow that garlic to infuse its flavor into our oil. It's gonna permeate throughout the marinara sauce. Quick little SAT word for you. You want it to get nice and fragrant. You don't want it to get too dark. If you notice that it's getting too brown, you can go ahead and kill the heat. But just want it to simmer a little bit. You should smell the garlic basically immediately. After about a minute or so, we're going in with that half of a diced onion. And we're gonna let that sweat down as well and start to get nice and tender for us. I also like to go ahead and add in my red pepper flakes a little early. That way the flavor starts to wake up a little bit. They kind of rehydrate in the oil. Same thing with my Italian seasoning. Go ahead and get those dried herbs in there. Don't be shy with those. Nice tablespoon or so. And I'm also gonna add that chicken bouillon powder just to kick up the flavor. Give that a good mix over medium-low heat. And just let everything kind of come together. Those flavors will start to wake up. Your house will be smelling good. The next ingredient to arrive to the party is the tomato paste, 1 heaping tablespoon of that. We're gonna work that in. Kind of gotta smash it with your spatula a little bit, but that's all right. And then we're going in with our crushed tomatoes. Let that simmer for as long as you want to, and you have yourselves a delicious homemade marinara sauce. Obviously you wanna season to taste with salt, pepper, garlic, and onion powder if needed. Probably just a little salt and pepper, maybe a pinch of sugar if you want to balance the acidity. In goes the crushed tomatoes. Nice and simple, guys. Very simple ingredients, inexpensive. You can jar this up in a mason jar, keep it in the fridge. Make yourself some pasta for the week. Can't go wrong with a good marinara. It freezes well too, so if you want to vacuum seal it, put it in the freezer. That's not a bad choice either. So just let that simmer for about 30 minutes. Season to taste with a little salt and pepper. The last thing I'm gonna add is some whole fresh basil. We're gonna fish that out at the end, but we just wanna let that kind of swim in that sauce, release its flavor. And now we're gonna keep it real simple, guys. You guys have done this before. We're gonna take our calamari out of that buttermilk bath, drain off any excess buttermilk, and then go right into that seasoned flour. And just make sure that it's properly breaded. Like so, knock off any excess flour. And then place it on a plate to hang out until our oil comes up to temperature. For the oil, we're looking for 350 degrees. All right, so we got our fryer filled up with some oil, looking for 350 degrees. You guys always ask where I got this fryer from. It's from a company called Camp Chef. One of my favorite fryers. As you can tell, I use it quite a bit. It's a little banged up, but she's still working good for me. We're just at about 350 degrees. As soon as we hit 350, I'll drop the calamari. One thing you want to keep in mind, guys, it's important to monitor your temperature. You don't want to just guess, especially with calamari, because if you overcook it, it's going to get super rubbery. So I like to use this digital food thermometer to make sure that my oil is 350. Calamari cooks exceptionally quick, guys, so literally just a minute or two is all it's going to take. Make sure you don't overcrowd your fryer. Try to give them a little bit of space. We'll do these in 2 batches just to make sure we don't overcrowd. That's what you want to see right there. You just want to get in there and make sure they're not sticking to the bottom or sticking to the sides. Make sure they're getting a nice even color like you see. As you can see, we got a nice golden brown color here. The breading's definitely sticking to the calamari. These are looking nice and crispy, feeling crispy. About another 30 seconds and then we're gonna remove them from the oil. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and remove these from the oil. They're nice and golden brown, super crispy, cooked to perfection. I like to let these drain on a wire rack. That helps make sure that they stay nice and crispy for us. Then another pro tip, as soon as they come out the oil, hit them with a little bit of finishing salt. Just can't wait for you guys to try this recipe. Oh man, look at that. Just a little sprinkle of salt as soon as they come out the oil. After the salt, I'm gonna hit them with just a little bit of lemon zest, just for an extra pop of flavor, because why the hell not? Lemon pairs nicely with calamari. This step's optional, guys, but I do like to zest them up a little bit. So there you have it, folks. Just a little bit under a pound of perfectly fried and crispy calamari and our homemade marinara sauce. Now, my friends, it's time to plate this up. Oh man, look at that. Doesn't get much better than a nice platter of crispy calamari. I can't wait to get in there. Brace yourself for a trademark money shot. Say it with me, guys. Looking good. Going down with a little fresh chopped parsley for a pop of color. And we're gonna add a little lemon. And the only thing left to do is get in there for a taste test. But before we do that, please take a quick second to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that bell to enable notifications as well. And now, my friends, it's finally time for the moment of truth. Oh man. You guys have got to give this one a try.